Hello and welcome to the sixth video in a series of training videos on how to be successful in multi-level marketing. This one's titled Ships at Sea. Once again, I'm Rob Lemke and I'm a lifestyle trainer with approximately 20 years of experience in multi-level marketing. And I hope to bring that experience to bear as we go through these slides together. So if you're ready to go, I'm feeling quite ready. Is that a yes? All right, then let's proceed. Okay, today we're going to look at something we're titling Ships at Sea, as I've mentioned. Now, just take this scenario with me. You've been in your business for a good length of time and you decided to be serious about it. And how does that look? Well, your organization is growing. You've sponsored 5 serious people. They've also sponsored 5 serious people under them. And so you're growing. And this is where you're at right now, right? If we shift the focus a little bit, everybody's heard the term when my ship comes in, right? When my ship comes in. I've used it a lot myself, when my ship comes in, when does my ship come in? Sort of wishing for that time when the success finally meets up with you, those kinds of things, right? So in multi-level marketing, your ship is about to come in, right? Once you get to this level, if you learn and actively apply these 10 sessions that we've gone through here, I'm telling you that you're going to be there when your ship comes in, okay? So be patient with it if it hasn't happened already. Okay, so keeping with the theme of ships and the ocean and travel and the shore and cargo, we're talking about 3 different types of ships at sea, okay? The shore that we're talking about here is the place where those ships are going towards to become successful. That's where your ships are going to come in, and that's where you're waiting. You're waiting on shore for your ships to come in, okay? As you see, the first ship is labeled the gold ship, the second ship is labeled the silver ship, and the third ship is labeled empty for an empty ship. It doesn't have any cargo on board, okay? So what do these ships represent? Basically, you're looking at all the people in your organization, and they're either a gold ship, or they're a silver ship, or they're an empty ship. Okay, what you'll find that this kind of scenario is in any at any level in your sponsorship lines, okay, and anywhere in your MLM organization. And what you're going to have happen is those ships are coming in not once but repeatedly, and you're going to cash in on the cargo that those ships have. Okay, so what is your priority then? The idea here is to lead the cargo ships in order for them to unload the cargo on the shore, okay? And what we concentrate on is the gold cargo ships. Why? Because those are the ones that are going to yield the most. So the priority then really in terms of leading the ships to shore is to concentrate on the gold ships and show them the way in like a lighthouse. Yeah, you're showing them the way to come in. How do you do that? As you'll see in the next couple of slides, it's by training primarily, okay? What you want to avoid also is not wasting time trying to guide an empty cargo ship into shore. What's happening with an empty cargo ship? The way that I'm looking at it here, an empty cargo ship is one that hasn't got started yet, right? It's sitting motionless in the sea. It hasn't gotten serious yet. This person, can you imagine trying to guide a motionless ship? It's a waste of time, really, right? But you don't want to sink that ship. That ship is part of your organization, and so you have to wait for that ship. You have to be patient for them to come on board, get serious about the business, start their engines and start moving, and then you can begin to guide them to become a silver ship, and from there, a gold ship, okay? So don't sink your empty ships. Your job with empty ships, as we'll see later on, is to keep them around, and we'll see how that works, okay? So the parallel here, of course, is that the ships are the people in your organization. We'll look at the gold ships. These are, again, we've talked about them many times in the previous presentation, the sales types of people in your organization. Now, the salespeople have this unique ability to convince and to persuade and to close a sale. And so they're very good at this type of thing, as well as many other characteristics that you would want to see in a ship that has the most potential to bring in the most valuable cargo into shore. Okay, so let's have some specifics here. They're sponsored at least one line. Okay, so you got 5 people on one line. Their first line is there. They don't really need any more help in sponsoring or in sponsoring anybody really. But what they do need is that basic skill. We've talked about it before with salespeople in the organization. The idea that they should teach and train in order to building the depth of the organization, rather than, remember we said 130 wide from the last presentation. They should be building down with 5 people in the first line, then 5 more people, making 25 people, etc. Okay? So they need the skill of building the depth. Other than that, the gold ships don't really need much instruction or mentoring or inspiration other than that. Okay? What about the empty ships? Well, you'll begin to see very clearly that there's patterns that repeat themselves when we talk about empty ships. These are the type of people that maybe have been in several months, 2-3 months, but you still find yourself trying to convince them, yeah, don't worry, it's going to work. It's going to work. These kind of people, they're quite negative in their character and quite easily discouraged, right? But remember I said don't sink the empty ship, because they may ignite, right? They haven't ignited yet, but they may do so. So your job becomes keeping them around an extra 60 days, an extra 90 days until that happens, until they become a moving ship that's got their goals, they've become ignited and excited about it, and they become serious about the business. Then you can lead them up to silver, and from there to a gold ship, okay? But keep your best work for leading the gold ships, for being a lighthouse for the gold ships, for being a mentor, for being an inspiration for those gold ships to come into shore as a lighthouse. Okay? What about the silver ship then? Well, the silver ship, basically, if we look at it this way, everybody who comes into the organization starts as a silver ship. Okay, a silver ship, it really depends on how they can go here. So you assume they're silver when they're coming in. How are you going to work with them? How are you going to train them? How are you going to mentor them? If you do an excellent job at that, there's a very good likelihood that a silver will turn to a gold. If you don't do a good job at that, there's a very good likelihood that a silver ship will become an empty ship, and maybe even a sunken ship that decides to leave the organization if you're very bad at the idea of mentoring and teaching, like the salesman Charlie that we met in presentation number 4. Okay, so keep away from that kind of thing. Make sure that when you get a new person in, you assume that they're silver and teach them well and train them well, mentor them well, inspire them well so that they don't turn into an empty ship and possibly sink themselves. You want them to all turn into gold ships so that they too can begin their own journey of building their teams downline, as we'll see in a minute here. Okay, if you remember back to presentation number 1, we were talking about the 5 serious people that you have to find in order to start this process. Well, guess what? Those 5 serious people are your first 5 gold ships, right? And once you have your first 5 gold ships, your priority is then to turn silver ships into gold, because by doing that, you don't have to sponsor so many people overall. You concentrate on those ones, converting them from a silver ship to a gold ship, a high performance, a motivated, inspired type of person in your MLM organization that also understands the importance of building deep and teaching people and mentoring people, serious people about the business. Okay, so how do you identify a silver ship then, right? How do you identify a silver ship that's likely to become gold? Because you assume that all the ships are silver coming in. So how do you define or find that one ship that's a silver likely to become gold and not the other way around, likely to become an empty ship? Well, as we've done the research on these, we've come up with basically 6 characteristics of what to find when you're looking at a silver ship that's likely to turn gold. And here they are. The first one is that they're eager to learn, asking questions all the time. They ask for help. Will you come and help me sponsor this person? Can you come and train my downline? Do you have time to do this? Please come. Excited about the business. They know that it will work and it excites them. And then the second part is that they're committed. Okay, they're already buying product. They know that it works. They're buying and using the product. They become a natural ambassador. If you remember back to the last presentation on using the products and what it means, putting petrol in your car, they understand all that. Okay? And they spend all their spare time learning about the products, learning about the opportunity. They spend all their spare time learning about MLM, so they're committed. And then the next one here is they're goals driven. Okay, so they have very definite goals, but on top of that, they have this burning desire to achieve those goals. Right. And then we've got 2 more here. One is that these type of people are keeping a list of contacts, and they have a system for this that keeps the contacts organized. That their list is an efficient way of doing prospecting, and they're always updating this list with new people, so it's always fresh, and they always have contacts available, so they can continue to do the prospecting work. And this is really a key part of a silver ship that's likely to become gold. And then the second last one here, they're fun to be with. Okay, they look forward to you coming around, whether it's a visit for business, whether it's a networking visit or a social visit. They always seem to be very welcoming, and they're happy to see you because they understand that the real strength of the whole program is in the network, right? Is in the network itself with other people, right? So that's fun to be with, the list of contacts. And lastly, they're very positive people. And positivity, as you know, is very contagious. People like to hang around with them. They attract people to themselves because of their positivity. So those are the 6 things that you look for when you're trying to identify a silver that's about to turn gold. Okay, so have a look back in the recording once it's there to go and review those 6 characteristics. And then keep this in mind also, that when you see these 6 characteristics, these are actually inherent in every silver ship that comes in. What's the difference here from a silver then to a gold? Well, really, it's only a level of experience, a level of understanding of the opportunity, of the product, of the MLM game or the MLM industry in general. And you can also see that they have a lower level of experience in terms of building and training teams. Maybe they have a lower level of experience also in terms of motivating, inspiring, igniting their people. So these are the things that you have to focus on when you're dealing with a silver ship and you want to get that silver ship into a gold ship. And these are the things you're concentrating on is training and building their teams and also motivating their teams, teach them how to do that. And then you turn your silvers into gold. Okay. As I said, these are skills that are learned by people. We all are silvers coming in. We need to learn these things. And therefore, it's our responsibility as the lighthouse on the shore to begin to teach, to transform these silver ships into gold ships and begin to guide these gold ships into shore, okay, so that they can offload the cargo and then everybody benefits from that. All right. Other things that we have to teach, not only a silver ship, well, mostly on the silver ship in order to turn them into gold ships, because by the time they're gold ships, they're pretty much on their own. They're inspired. They are building their own downlines. They don't need much direction and guidance, maybe just not even motivation, but a little bit of guidance on building deep rather than building wide, okay, as we've mentioned before. So these are 3 very important words when we talk about silver ships. And they are actually the things that make a multi-level marketing organization work as we said, the 4 things that you must do. This is 3 words that you have to also begin to engage in with your silver ships. The first thing is to expose a silver ship to every part of the business. Expose the person to everything you're doing. This is this, okay? This is prospecting. This is us having meetings, training meetings. This is us organizing an event. This is us inviting our upline. Expose them to every part of the business so they understand it from A to Z, okay? So they have an example there to follow when they start to do the same things themselves. The second thing is to involve people. Involve them, again, in every aspect of the business. When you go out for prospecting, give them a call, or whether it's these days it's going to be a Facebook or a Zoom, and do the call with them. You can, because people will watch, observe, and learn, and then copy you. And so if you're doing it in a good way and you show them in the proper way, then they also copy that and continue on with that. Okay, so involving them in a business. And then also the successes that you have, you can involve them in celebrating those successes as well. All right, so when you expose and involve your people, then the upgrade starts to happen in a natural way. It happens the more they are exposed and involved in the business. It begins to happen repeatedly and begins to happen constantly if you've done it right, okay? So bringing your silvers up to a level of gold. Exposing them to multi-level marketing as well. So how do you do that? Well, this is, again, if you take everything that you've learned, 5 methods of moving product: retail, direct sales, mail order, and the illegal one, pyramid schemes, and then MLM. You can talk about, you can begin to present to them the 2 times 2 equals 4, right? The 2 times 2 equals 4, basically showing them the power of the multiplication as you build deep and the importance of building deep rather than building wide. You can involve them in the business of how to teach your sponsor, okay? Or you begin to teach them that, right? How to teach your sponsor. And how do you do that? Well, the trip to sunny California is the perfect thing. The 4 things that you must do. It's a great thing to start to teach your sponsors, right? Get in and get started. Pay the fee, sign up. Buy petrol, buy and use the product, but get into high gear. The idea of that deep building of your organization to get yourself into high gear and the rest of your team into 2nd, 3rd, and 4th gear themselves. That putting you into overdrive after that. Then also sharing with friends, very important, right? The idea of retail customers becoming your friends and repeat buying from you because of the recommendations that you made or the things that they've seen in you, that the successes that they've seen in you from the product working for you, right? Okay, so the upgrading then will come as a natural outgrowth of both exposure and involvement. And the things that you focus on when you're involving them is understanding and using the 10 presentations. Teach, train how to do these, and that's the basic fundamentals of what they have to do. And also kind of keep them guided on keeping definite goals. Once they set their goals, that's the point where they become serious, right? That's where they start to grow themselves, and that's when you begin to see the ship start to move into from a silver and then moving up to the gold. All right, so we mentioned that there's 2 ways to go when a silver ship comes in. We're assuming every ship that's coming into the organization is already silver. So there's 2 ways to go. One, for it to keep on going, to become a gold ship under your guidance as the lighthouse, let's say, as the person showing them a way into shore. Or the other thing too is that despite your showing them, they become an empty ship, whether the negativity takes over or whatever, and they become motionless in the sea. Well, so it's important then to recognize when you have an empty ship also, not just the gold ships and the silver ships. How do you recognize the empty ship? One, this is the type of people that don't appreciate your call, right? They become defensive. They have excuses. They tell you or they indicate to you in a nonverbal way that you're being pushy. You're bugging them. You're pressuring them to do something they don't want to do. Okay? So you get a fairly good idea of what an empty ship looks like. Okay? Realize this too, that when the empty ship sinks, and sometimes this will happen, right? Because somebody decides, they get discouraged, they are motionless in the ocean. They say, okay, enough of this. I'm going to jump overboard and let this thing go down and go start something new. Okay, so they go down alone. Or if you spend time with them, if you're wasting time trying to get a motionless ship going without their help, it's going to drag you down. It's going to be very frustrating. It's going to waste your time. So this is why we say you should train all your people to stay away from the empty ship. Stay away from the empty ships. Work with the silver ships to become gold ships. But more importantly, when you work with the gold ships, begin to teach them how to lead, to motivate, to inspire, to build their own teams, and assist them as well to develop their own organizations as they move down into the deeper levels. And in this way, you stand as a lighthouse on the shore and guide those gold ships into the shore so that in the end, when they offload their cargo, you begin to see the benefits of that. Okay. So just as a quick reminder then, the silver ones are sort of the ones you're going to get mostly into your organization. Silver, as we said, we have to assume that they're silver. So when you're identifying the ones that with the potential to become gold, this is a quick reminder, it's the people that appreciate help. They have definite goals. They have active, dynamic, efficient contact lists and the system to administer those lists and keep them active. And also they're serious about the business and they're positive, right? 1 second. Dog is hacking up here. Sorry, I apologize. As I said, you have a silver ship with potential to become gold. They're serious about the business and they're positive. Note the AG in the corner. That's from the periodic table of elements. That's the symbol for silver, AG. Okay. And here, AU, of course, is the symbol for gold. Okay. So what is the difference between the gold and the silver? As we've said already, this is just a reminder. It's a level of understanding of the product, of the opportunity, of the MLM business in general. A lack of experience, let's say, building and training teams, or a lack of experience motivating people. So those are the two areas of focus when we talk about guiding those ships to become silver to gold. Okay, that's where we have to teach those skills. We teach people about those in order to transform them into gold ships. So basically, my wish for you then after this presentation is that your gold ships are going to come in more often to shore because of your guidance as a lighthouse, and that your silvers also will become gold ships again because of your ability to train them well and to motivate them, okay? To become silver into gold ships instead of having a lot of empty ships that have the potential to drag you down and maybe to sink you. So again, go for the gold ships, spend your time on the gold ships, motivating and leading them to come into shore as a lighthouse. All right. So if there's any questions about this presentation, please leave your comments in the comments section below. Also go to the link there and have a look at our, if you'd like to get started in this, there's a link there to the current opportunity with JEUNESSE. I encourage you to get in there today and start so that you can experience bringing silver ships into your organization, transforming them into gold ships, and then reaping the benefits when those gold ships unload their cargo on the shore because of the way that you guided them in as a lighthouse. All right. So thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in the next training session number 6, coming up here once we get it uploaded to the YouTube. Thanks again, and happy building your organizations. Bye for now.